So are your marketing dollars driving high ticket, jobs like installs or just more repair calls like service jobs? And so here I want to show how to calculate and how to model your install versus service lead mix percentages by month. And it's going to show if your growth is profit driven or workload driven. So it's going to tell you if you're scaling or, scaling your revenue or just staying busy. And so we have this data set here. And from here, all you need is the lead date because we're doing this by month, and then the customer type, or sorry, the job type. So if you have those two columns, then you're good to go. But also, if you want this data set, there's a link to download it. I've worked with multiple HVAC clients, and so I'm sort of familiar with how their data sets look, and I help them recreate them at times. And so if you need help with that, just let me know. But the first thing we need to do is we need to strip out the month and the year. And I've already done this, but I'll do it again just to show you. So to strip out the month, we use the text function, and then just go to whatever cell the date the dates in. You can do either one of these. It's not going to matter because we want the month, right? They're both still January. So comma, and then quotations, and then month, 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 month. So 4 M's. And then for the year, it's the exact same function. And I'll just do it over here just to show you. But now we want to do 4 Y's for year instead of 4 M's for month. Okay, so that's how you do that. I'm going to delete these because we don't need them because I already have them here. And so the next thing we need to do to create this is we're going to need to get a unique list of the month and the year. And so the way we do that is by taking a unique list of these two columns that we just created. And so here what I'll do, it's equals unique. And then I'm just going to click in cell Y1 where it says month, control shift right arrow, and then down arrow. And then you'll get the unique list. I'm going to highlight this, copy, and then Control Shift V to paste the values. And then now what we want is I'll just add a date column for the chart, for the x-axis of the chart. And it's going to be equal to this, the ampersand sign, and quotations, space, dash, space, quotations, and 2025. And now we have that. So now it's just, we could say, what is it, install versus service, and then the number of leads. So to get the number of installs as a percentage, we need two numbers, right? We need the numerator and the denominator to create the ratio. And so for installs, what we need to do, because we want it by month and year, we want to count the number of times the word install is here, and the word January is here, and the number 2025 is here. And so we do that by, count if it's install, and if it's January, and if it's 2025. So count if. But we need the S because it's more than one criteria. So the month January is in cell B3, and then the year is in cell C3. So COUNTIFS, and then here we can highlight this. Make sure you highlight the table, comma, and then we're going to do, we want the criteria of install. So make sure to use quotations. And then over here, the month, comma, is cell B3, remember from the other sheet. And then the year, comma, C3. And so we had 79 installs. And so that's good. That's the top part. So now how do we get the denominator? Like if you're looking at this data, what do we do to get the denominator? Since every row is a lead, we need to count the number of Januaries and the number of 2025s, right? Because this is your marketing data, right? So these are your lead sources, right? So lead source, your channel, all that other stuff. So we just want to count the number of rows that are January and 2025 as the denominator. But what already happened is we already did this, right? We did this right here. This is the month and the year. So I'm trying to copy this and then divide and then COUNTIFS, open your bracket and then paste. And now you have the percentage. So you can just double click that. And then what I'll do here, just to save some time, is I'm going to do pretty much the same formula, but instead of install, I'm going to do service. And so you have that. And then finally, for the number of leads, it's just the denominator, right? Like the number of leads for the for the data set for that month is just whatever's in the denominator. So we have that. So pretty straightforward. So I'm going to highlight these, press Control Shift and the number 5 to make it a percentage. You can also click up here under Home and Number. And then now we can create the chart. So I'm going to create this chart, what I'm going to do is we just want this data, and we're going to use a stacked column with the secondary axis. So highlight, starting with date, everything over, go to Insert, go to Recommended Charts. And you're not going to see everything that you're not going to see what you want, because you have to sort of create it. It's not native. It is native in Excel, but it's not going to be like one of these pictures that you see. So up here, click on All Charts and then go to Combo. And you're still not seeing it because we have to fix this a little bit. So what you can already see is you see clustered column. We don't want that. We want a stacked column. And then here you can see leads, and we want a line, but we want a different axes. We don't want 260 to be the same axis as 0.7 and 0.3. So for the line, click secondary axis. And then you can see the breakdown this way. And you can stop there. Maybe you like it this way more. But if you want to see a stacked column, then just click stacked column like that, and then OK. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much, 90% of the way there. The rest is just sort of housekeeping. So the next thing I want to do is call this, install versus service lead mix % by month. And then second, I want to have this be 100. I don't want it to be 120 because it can only be 100, right? So I'm going to double click here and then go to the little columns, axis options, and then just delete the 0.2. And now you can see it's there. And then for this line, I want to change the color. And again, you can do this however you like. I'm just making it just showing you how to make some changes if you want changes. Make the line that way. And then finally, I want to see the values. And so if you just click on the chart and then the little crosshair for data labels, it's too noisy. So I don't want that. What I want the line and then data labels. And it's still hard to see it. I'll show you one last little trick. If you click on the number, make sure you see all the little boxes. Like, don't do a single one. Just click on all of them. And then go to Home, and then you can fill in the background. Right? And I mean, you could also make it bold, make it bigger if you wanted. There's a lot you can do there. And then that is it for this video. So that's how you calculate it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Once you understand COUNTIFS and sort of how to, add data to the right side of the columns to get out the month with the text functions and all that other stuff, it's pretty straightforward. But there's a lot of other, KPIs you could do. You could break it down with heat maps, maybe by location. You could do the same chart by location or by, the job subtype, or, over here we have the customer service rep. And so once you learn the main way of doing this, you just switch this stuff out, right? So instead of install service, you could do customer service rep, or instead of month, you could do customer service rep. And so it's all gonna, knowing these formulas is gonna help you do that. But anyways, that's all I got for this video. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. questions@databorders.io. If you want this file, there's a link to download it. If you can't find it, shoot me an email. Just say, hey, Ryan, can you shoot me the file for the marketing, install versus service lead file? And if you need some help with, recreating these types of data sets, again, shoot me an email. There's also a link to hop on my calendar. But if not, that's all I got for this video, and I'll see you in future lessons.